Gray Zone reporter Liam Cosgrove caught up with Representative Jamaal Bowman on his way into work earlier this week and asked him about his support for continuous funding of the Ukraine war. So we caught up to him twice. We're going to play the entire thing. This is just so fantastic. It is just extraordinary what an idiot Jamaal Bowman makes of himself, knowing he's on camera. So here's the first interaction. This is a very short one. This is on the way into work. This is, I guess, in the morning.
You want to discuss?
The Donbass and Crimea?
I don't know if I know much about that. I need to get into the details and learn some more about that. Yeah.
You know what those are?
No. Tell me. Educate.
Well, let me ask you this. What's your opinion on the war for Ukraine? Do you support U.S. aid to the war in Ukraine?
Yes.
Why do you support that?
Because Putin's a madman, and we got to stop him. But I'm anti-war in general.
Okay.
I'm anti-war in general,
except for the wars that are actually happening.
Right, just not this one.
I'm more anti-historical wars that I won't have to vote on.
I'm more anti-war in the abstract.
Crimea, those are the central regions in Ukraine.
Like Vietnam.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm against the wars that happened 50 years ago. Yeah, exactly. A very strong record on opposing those.
In which started the war over those regions.
Okay. To the beach.
Okay, good to meet you. So he goes in. Now, apparently, this guy had nothing really much else to do today aside from troll Jamaal Bowman, which, lucky for us, he did. He caught up with him. I guess maybe this was lunch or maybe this was the end of the day. But here he is waiting for him when he gets out.
How do you put that
Congressman Bowman.
Troll Jamaal Bowman.
Yeah, right, on a resume. Exactly. All right, here you go.
Congressman Bowman.
What's up, man?
We just spoke.
Come on, man. What's up, man?
I got to follow up because you went inside.
No, you don't got to follow up. Leave me alone. Talk to somebody else.
I will, but I have to ask you.
Real man of the people. Real accountable to the grassroots, Jamaal Bowman, this squad. No, you don't leave me alone. No, you don't, man. Leave me alone. Wow.
It's like the guy asked him to supersize the fries right when he's getting off work.
Yeah, right. Oh, come on. Yeah, no, this used to happen to me when I worked at Pizza Hut. The Pizza Hut would close at like 11 o'clock. And at 10:55, some drunk guys would come in and order cinnamon sticks, which was the biggest pain in the ass because you had to use separate pans for the cinnamon sticks. You couldn't cook the cinnamon sticks in the same pans that you use for the pizza. So you had to take out all the pans that you just cleaned and make cinnamon sticks. And then you have to wash them again. Yeah. That's like what this guy is to Jamaal Bowman. Coming in here at 10:55 ordering cinnamon sticks.
Drunk.
Drunk, yeah, exactly.
One more question.
Why?
Because, so you didn't know what the Donbass and Crimea were.
Yes.
But you still support aid for Ukraine.
Yes.
It was central to why the war started. So shouldn't you
Well, that's what you're saying. I got to dig in to see. I'm sure others have another opinion on why that war started as well.
Well,
Putin's a madman.
There are multiple factors. Why do you think
Putin's a madman?
Come on, man. Why you
That has to be a sound drop. Putin's a madman. We have to put that into our.
You know what I meant to put in. She has a cat named Vagina.
Yeah, Vagina. She's a cat. You know what the cat's name is? Vagina.
Vagina. He takes a beat before.
He takes a beat like he knows this is gonna go. Yeah. All right, here we go. More.
Just fluent. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Good to see y'all. Because our foreign policy is crap. And we solve problems with war.
Okay,
and
so
the
this is why the war
military-industrial
started.
complex is mad powerful.
Okay.
And they control members of Congress. That's why wars start. You know this.
I agree with that.
You already know I know this.
But you support aid for Ukraine.
Come
what
on,
about a
man.
diplomatic solution?
Am I the one you should be talking to about this? Y'all tripping, man.
I'm asking
What do you mean,
Congress,
what about a diplomatic? Of course we want a diplomatic solution. I've called for that. Others have. You don't know this?
But if you keep giving the money, does it not prolong the war?
Listen. There's a military-industrial complex that has been in place since America was founded. There needs to be a movement. What's up, brother? Chilling. To stop it. Members like me.
All right, so we've got two clips tonight that are Christopher Guest in his prime. Like if Christopher Guest made a movie about politics, this would be a scene.
Yeah, this would be in it. This would be in it. I love. Okay, so here he goes. There needs to be a movement
in Congress.
You vote in favor of giving money to that complex.
That's a vote.
Ukraine.
That's a vote in that moment for that issue at that moment.
Yes, that's what he's saying.
That's it. It's not like something I'm going to vote for every time I'm here for 20 years or 10 years
but
or
I agree
5
with you on
years.
the complex, but
So he's basically saying, give me some time to break myself in. Give me some time to get used to Washington. And over time, what? You're going to vote for war less? No. If past this prologue, as you remain in Congress, you'll get worse. And you're starting out on a pretty bad foot. And this excuse, there needs to be a movement behind me. This is what the squad always blames all of their failings on. Right. Well, you're not organizing enough.
Right.
You're not giving us enough confidence to come in here and shake the system because you guys need to organize more behind us, right?
Well, that's very capitalist.
Well, they did organize behind you. They had a Rage Against the War Machine rally. A couple thousand people turned up. Why couldn't you guys go there and speak? There you go. There's some organization. No, wasn't there.
Not give money to the complex.
Man.
I'm just trying to understand your rationale.
What do you mean? Why are you asking me about my rationale? I am totally
You're
not.
a prominent guy, and you vote for the funding.
There are many people in there who actually support war and hate and want to raise military funding every year.
I agree.
I voted against raising military funding. Did you know that? You didn't know that? You did not know that.
I did not know that.
See that? So look at my full record.
See, they told me ahead of time. We know that you play this whole bullshit, I'm a progressive man of the people thing. We have enough votes to pass it, so you're allowed to vote against it and then tell people that you voted against it to pretend you still stand for something.
Exactly.
You didn't know that? You didn't know that?
You didn't know that the military budget passed with like over 400 votes, and I was one of a few dozen to vote against it, or whatever the final vote was, right? Yeah. So did you know that? Oh, you didn't know that.
You didn't know
I cast a meaningless vote against the Pentagon budget? Did you not know that? Were you aware of that, sir?
You didn't know if it was a close vote, I would have voted the other way? You didn't know that?
Exactly. And there's some people in the chat, by the way, saying, no, he didn't. Wrong, he voted for it, who are saying he did vote for the Pentagon budget, which I honestly am not sure of, because honestly, that is of such little consequence. Even if he did, it wouldn't be any kind of answer, because as we just said there, it has such overwhelming bipartisan support. It's a symbolic vote, even if he did cast it.
Yeah, it's one they can get away with. I mean, that's like the answer. Unfortunately, I didn't expect to ambush Eric Adams. When I ambushed Eric Adams, he gave me a bullshit answer because I confronted him about being for solitary confinement, and he claimed he was against it. He told me, look that up, and next time you see me, I want you to say, thank you, Eric, for being against solitary confinement. So I go and I look it up. This fucking scumbag is for punitive isolation.
Yeah, punitive isolation. Right. Yeah, exactly.
But it's not solitary confinement. It's punitive isolation. You cannot make that Orwellian shit up.
Before you come to me about one single vote.
But you should also look at what starts a war before you vote in favor of funding it.
I know what starts a war.
This is amazing.
What do you think started the war in Ukraine?
Absolutely amazing
Who is a madman?
Okay, not that.
Okay, there's a military-industrial complex. He doesn't want Ukraine to be part of NATO. This is Western oligarchy, imperialist crap. That's what...
What started this war? He doesn't want Ukraine to be part of NATO. This is Western oligarchy imperialist crap. I don't know if you know, but Western refers to like us and the rest of Europe.
Yes.
Russia isn't referred to as the West in this context. So if you're blaming Western imperialism, then what you're really blaming is NATO expansion. But that's not what you just said. You said Putin doesn't want Ukraine to be part of NATO, and so his war is a war of Western imperialism, oligarchy crap. I mean, this is just laughably ignorant and stupid. I mean, it is amazing how little he knows and how confident he just feels in barking this out. I mean, it's incredible. This is Western oligarchy imperialism crap. What?
Well, you could see that he has ideas in there from whatever activists. I don't know a lot about his history before he got in Congress. I assume he came up through certain left kind of activist groups And you can see he absorbed some of that foreign policy view without completely understanding it. And he's reconciling that with having to go along to get along in Congress. You know, there have been a few people who have said this, you know, reporters who have spent a lot of time in Congress who don't care about burning the bridges, who have said, if you go and you talk to members of Congress, you'd be surprised how stupid they are. You would be surprised how many dumb, ignorant people who really don't know anything about the things they're voting on are in Congress. Exhibit A.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exhibit A. Exhibit A. Well, this is what I said earlier in the show. A lot of people who came from, you know, DSA, which Bowman did, and the Bernie movement, which Bowman did.
So that's where he picked up a lot of this shit.
Yeah, but they also have a lack of curiosity about foreign policy. They just don't know it very well. They're just not well versed in it. And look, I will admit, when it comes to Eastern European conflicts, I wasn't well versed in it either. Luckily, I'm a fairly quick study, and instinctively I knew, as soon as the war started, that this was preventable and should be opposed every step of the way, and we should pursue peace as soon as possible. That's just an instinct I have as a left-wing person, which apparently is nowhere to be found in his head. Let's let him keep going.
It is.
Okay.
You know this.
So you're saying it's a clash? You're saying it's a clash between both Putin and the military-industrial complex.
I'm
trying to get
done,
to the
man.
bottom
I'm
of
done.
your rationale.
What are you trying to get to the bottom of? We have a society that built nuclear weapons just in case they had to blow up a city. We've been inhumane to each other for centuries. We have to stop being inhumane to each other.
I totally agree.
Okay, that's
Okay,
it.
so now
that's
you're
why I
going to
wonder
go
why-
with
That's
the
a
pablum.
single vote at a moment in time for something that's
a
happening.
single vote at a moment
Ukraine
in
is a
time.
democracy in that area.
Go to the old Kamala
you
excuse.
mean like the way physics work? Time, space, dimension, working
I mean,
together?
that's the Kamala Harris answer. This is making Kamala look like the valedictorian of the class here.
Well, now we understand how she got where she is.
Yeah, exactly.
world.
Look
Putin
at the
is
competition.
Yeah,
a
competition.
crazy dictator. We are a democracy. We are supporting that democracy and defending itself. That's what that vote was about. That's what support for
right.
Ukraine is about.
He
In
said
general,
about
I want
four
to end
different
to
things
all
about what that
wars.
vote is about.
You can't end all wars with one single vote, one single time when a nation that's an ally is under attack.
But don't you think that when those weapons start being used on Russian soil, and that, you know, I mean, and you got to also learn why the war started, don't you think, like, you know, you're giving money towards something that's potentially escalating it even further, killing more people,
There's a
even
military,
more dangerous?
So, listen, there's a military-industrial complex, okay? It's been in place for hundreds of years.
Yeah, we understand.
We have to
I
stop
wouldn't
that
say
complex.
Maybe
okay?
the hundreds.
Totally with you there.
All right, so let's organize to stop it instead of trying to design gotcha moments for members of Congress. Okay? Do you want to work with me?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do that. Call my office and let's organize to figure
The
out how to
old
do
call
that.
my
Don't
office
call my
trick.
office. He's here now. He's here now. He's talking to you right now. You don't seem very susceptible to his message. You don't seem too convinced by what he's saying. Call my office.
I mean, it is interesting that he keeps coming back to the military-industrial complex, and also, not only does he keep coming back, like in the end, I think that's what he actually believes, because there's no advantage in saying something like that. God knows what kind of a phone call he got from Darth Pelosi after he said that shit.
Right, yeah, exactly.
You know, she did the choking with the force trick on him after that. But he seems to have absorbed like a conspiracy theory flavored version of the military industrial complex. Like it seems to be mixed up with the Freemasons or some shit. Hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
The founders of Raytheon were meeting in the sub basements of Trinity Church.
Right, exactly. Yeah, President Jesus, the MIC's useful scapegoat for the needs of imperialism. Yeah, exactly. Here we go.
How things stop through organizing and through movements.
Movements.
So from the abolitionist movement to the suffrage movement to the civil rights movement and many other anti-war civil rights and many others. So you want to work with my office to organize to do that?
I do.
Let's do that.
I do, and I will.
Call our office. Follow up.
I do. And
Well, they had a couple Gray Zone people at that Rage Against the War Machine rally. I'm sure you guys knew that was happening. Nobody showed up. I mean, just the excuse, well, we need movements behind us. Because what's the thing about a movement? Movements are never big enough, right? You can always say the movement needs to be bigger before a politician can respond to it. The fact that this guy obviously lacks the knowledge and the courage to act on what limited knowledge he has, which is that there's a military-industrial complex, is self-evident in this video. He reversed it completely. Why'd the war start? Well, we got Western imperialism, oligarchy crap, right? I mean, he doesn't even know what the word Western refers to in this context, right? I mean, it's so obvious.
I'm just saying.
I gotta go.
I've given you a lot. I asked it to all members.
Okay, I've never seen you before.
I just got
you
here.
come to me with record. You're in my face recording.
This is how I do it.
All right, that's how you do it. I've never seen you before. You're in my face recording, asking me questions, trying to. People
like a
have done
member
this to
of
me
Congress?
before.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll see what you
It's almost
post,
like you're a member of Congress.
and we'll see how people respond. Because I said other things that you
Yes,
agree
we
with.
will see how people respond. Yes, you will. Indeed. Right about that, sir. Correct about that.
That you probably won't post.
I agree with it, but
post
but let me ask
those.
you this, because you say military-industrial complex, but don't
Yo,
you
I'm
see
good,
the,
I'm good.
Don't you see the connection between?
I see the connection, man, but I just
But-
got here 2021. You got people here 50 years. This industrial complex
see.
in place
There you
hundreds
go.
of years. Come on, son.
That's ultimately what
Yeah,
they're
see,
going to
I-
You didn't even know, right? Because they know what you're going to do, usually. You didn't even know that I voted against the NDAA being raised multiple times. You didn't even know that.
No, I didn't.
All right, you should look that up and post about that, too.
I will.
All right, I'm out.
Bravo.
I gotta go.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Bravo.
See, I feel like that's where he was going with it. He was kind of saying, well, these
Look, I'm new here.
these people been here longer. They're responsible. Why are you breaking my balls?
Right. He's just saying, hey,
don't
I'm
blame,
new here.
blame the game. That's basically his whole defense.
Yeah, that was the whole act. Pretty extraordinary piece of video there. He gave him so much time, and he just made such a fool of himself, such an idiot of himself, that you don't even have a curiosity about Crimea and the Donbass. You don't know what those are. You have to look into that. Now, just so we don't, look like we're singling him out, Bernie gave a similarly pathetic answer a few months ago when they asked him about Ukraine. He says, it's not an issue I've looked into all that much. This is what I mean. This is the blind spot of the whole DSA movement.
And
this has to do with a lot of why a lot of left peers in our space don't cover this as much. They just don't.
It's an interesting point. I mean, honestly, I hadn't really thought too much about it until you brought it up. Like, yeah, it is weird. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a very inward focused movement, very concerned with domestic policy, not without a very articulated theory of foreign policy. And it's something, that's not just the DSA. I mean, more broadly, something that always strikes me reading the writings and the speeches of 60s and 70s radicals is they almost never talk about their movement without putting it in the context of a global struggle. And that language and that mindset has really been lost across the board. It's been lost in the civil rights movement. It's been lost in economic movements. There's been a big turning inward and a lack of awareness of our struggles as being connected to a broader struggle.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which is weird because we have better communication than we've ever had. If there was ever a time you should be able to have that vision, it would be now.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Please clap.